Konnichiwa! Metal from Japan. Traditional heavy metal band. One of my all-time favorites. A very brilliant band indeed. One that I don't hear so much about on the interwebs. So I thought I'd make a video about them. Uh, Loudness has had a long career. They started in 1981, and I'm gonna concentrate on those early albums because that's my favorite stuff from them. One of the best guitar players I've ever heard, Akira Takasaki. Uh, the dude is he has the skill of Eddie Van Halen, but his style, I guess, is closer to maybe a hint of 70s Scorpions and some Gary Moore from the time when Gary Moore was doing that heavy metal stuff he did in the early 80s. Singer Minoru Nihara is brilliant, kind of like the Bruce Dickinson from Japan. I can't really understand much he's saying because most of the lyrics are in Japanese on the early albums. But it's really cool singing. And then there's the rhythm section, the bass player Masayoshi Yamashita and the drummer Munetaka Higuchi. And they play really well. There's kind of like some Rush influence happening there. Really cool stuff. So, anyway, here's the first album, Birthday Eve, and the opening track, Loudness, the title track of the band. I don't think that's too great. It's kind of like one of these anthem songs. Lots of other great songs here, like Sexy Woman and Street Woman, To Be Demon, I'm on Fire, Rock Shock. Really cool stuff. Kind of like, I especially enjoy the faster songs on this one. And it's a fine album. It's also pretty honest in the sense that you don't have too much doubling. So basically, during the solo sections, there's no rhythm guitar. So it actually pretty much sounds like the band would sound live. So I think that's kind of honest, and I'm gonna give them points for that. However, the second album is my favorite. It's called Devil Soldier. The title track, the closing track, Devil Soldier, is one of the all-time favorite songs I have. With that really tight, almost thrash metal riff. Really cool stuff. Opening track, Lonely Player, really excellent, like a gazillion riffs there thrown in there, floating from and flowing from one to the next. Brilliant stuff. Almost kind of reminds me of Merciful Fate, Satan's Fall in the way they just come up with more and more riffs. And then there's Angel Dust, which is a really cool song. All in all, I would say this is probably my favorite album from them. Here's the slim version, which has a couple of bonus tracks. And then the third album, Law of Devil's Land, still very cool. On those two early albums, the sound isn't the best, so the production values are not that great. But here on the third album, it's starting to get really good. And you can kind of hear there's going to be some mainstream accessibility with this one. The fast songs on this one are really good. You get In the Mirror, you get Law of Devil's Land, you get Speed. Speed is amazing. It's one of the my favorite tracks from this band. Lots of other good stuff here as well. Black Wall especially. So yeah, all of these three albums are really good. Also, they did release a live album from this third album's tour. So we got Live, Loud, Alive, Loudness in Tokyo. Very cool album. It has some songs that they've never released on the studio albums. So there's I Was the Sun, Fly Away. Some single B-sides as well, like Shinkiro, Burning Love, and what was the third one? Road Racer, yeah. The only sad thing about this is that there's not one single song from my favorite album, Devil Soldier. So that's kind of sad. But they did also release a DVD from this tour. It's titled the same, Live, Loud, Alive. but the songs are in some cases a bit different. So actually here you get Lonely Player and Angel Dust from their second album. Also Sexy Woman from their first album. So I would argue that actually the DVD version has a bit better track list. Yeah, I enjoy this even more. And here's the Japanese DVD. As you probably know, these are they kind of have almost like the CD cover to them. Unlike here in Europe. Here's their fourth album, Disillusion. There's also a British version of this one. It's a classic album and absolutely an album that I'm guessing the sound value is fine for any listener. You get Crazy Doctor, you get Esper, which is a really fast song. You get Dream Fantasy, another fast one. Milky Way, you know, lots of good stuff. Even Butterfly, which is kind of like a mellower song, but it's really cool and there's some interesting rhythmical things happening behind the solo section. So it's indeed very, very cool album. Also, they did release another live album from this tour, Eurobounce, from their first European tour, I'm guessing, or maybe their second or third. Probably their second, I think, yeah. So you get all the best pieces of Disillusion here, and also Lonely Player, Speed, In the Mirror, you know, all the classic stuff. Really good live album. Also, surprise, surprise, there's a DVD version of it. And it contains the same 8 songs and some other material when they are touring around Europe. Some short sections, not really interviews as much, but kind of like behind the scenes type of stuff. Very cool. Then, here's the album that usually people are aware of. Thunder in the East, 1985. So they have really released an album every year during their early career, plus live stuff. So that's quite a pace. Here they're kind of like turning into this hair metal band a bit more. But still, I would argue that it might be one of their stronger albums. Pretty much every song is quite good, really. You know, there's hardly anything bad here. Yeah, some of the ballads are kind of, I don't know, they might be a bit too slick for some listeners. But even Never Change Your Mind it's kind of, it has a good melody. So I would recommend this one as well. This is probably the album that most people would be aware of if they're into metal. And here's Lightning Strikes from 1986. It's got the amazing Ashes in the Sky. So that alone is a reason to get this album. Also, Who Knows has lots of interesting rhythm things happening, and it's a really fun song. All in all, I would say the B-side here is better than the A-side. You get Black Star Oblivion and Complication and stuff like that. Very cool. So what else? They did release quite a few singles and single B-sides, so here's a collection of those. Burning Love, Bad News, Geraldine, In the Mirror, Road Racer and Shinkiro. Some of these songs were on the live album. Very nice package where you get all of those, you know, early singles, as the title suggests. Then, what else? Well, they did release some other DVDs as well. So this was rather expensive. I don't know if it makes sense to get this unless you're a huge Loudness fan. Basically, this is a collection from the earlier DVDs. But what's cool about this is that on disc 4, you get a live show from their second tour, from Devil Soldier. And it does, they do some pretty rare songs here, like Devil Soldier and Hard Working and High Try, I'm on Fire, stuff like that from their first 2 albums. And then there's also another whole live show on disc 4, and it's Thunder in the East tour in the West from Denver, USA, 1985, where they basically play Thunder in the East pretty much completely. I guess there's like 1 or 2 songs missing, and they play it. And the picture quality and sound quality isn't perfect, but it's decent and enjoyable if you're a fan. And then one more, I guess, from 2009. After, unfortunately, their original drummer was already quite sick. I think he died of colon cancer. I might be misremembering that. They did get another drummer, though, who is doing his job pretty well here. And they are just concentrating on playing tracks from their 4 or 5 earlier albums. So we got 3 different sets here, and 2 of those sets and just have songs from their 4 earliest album. So that's pretty cool. They really make a deep dive there and play songs like Butterfly and To Be Demon and what else? Mr. Yes Man and all this kind of rare stuff that they haven't played since the 80s, or maybe never at all. There's also a 3rd set from their 5th album, and it has even the couple of missing songs that we had earlier there. So it has the whole album in it. So it's a very cool set and not too expensive, so I would recommend it. Okay, metal up your ass and keep seeing you. Yeah.